Mm. Hi everyone, welcome to another live session. We're supposed to record a video but for some reason we're supposed to go live, so we changed that in the last minute. But today we wanted to provide more clarifications regarding this multi soul connections that people are experiencing, because many times we just talk with Dio that people are just having those multiple twin flame connections, and how is it really working in terms of your spiritual journey. So we wanted to provide maybe more clarifications for people that are experiencing that they have multiple twin flames and they are getting confused in those labels of false twins or real twins. So hopefully with this session you will get more understanding about the process. So I wanted just to start maybe with the purpose of every connection that comes to your experience. Like, why is it really happening? Is they are meant to help you to raise your vibrations. They are meant to help you to become better version of yourself by just showing you those areas that you can improve in yourself. And normally those come in a form of triggers. So for whatever reason, if you experience some turmoils or maybe some disagreements in the connection or some limits, those situations always show you what you haven't yet developed in yourself in order just to create this balanced relationship or balanced connection. So you can realize that when you have this multiple connections, you may see to repeat the cycles, repeat some situations that sometimes it's even super weird how exactly it happened. So it's the purpose why sometimes those very similar situations are happening, just to bring your attention that you're gonna repeat those cycles until you realize that you're just getting in the in the circles, and you're just repeating over and over the same story until you finally get it right, or just behave differently, behave more healthy according to either your psychological blockages that you may have from the past. So just really trying to find out the solution that will be the from this healthy standpoint, without any unhealthy or limiting belief systems or some limiting patterns. And finally, I also wanted to say that with also connections that come to your field, they are also meant to increase your vibration, increase your awareness, but also activate you on some level. So very often you can recognize when you're dealing with soul level connection that you will have this feeling in your chest, and it's not always it's just butterflies. Some people may feel like that, but it's just very specific feeling when you're approaching someone, that it's kind of something draws you towards this person, as if you can have like 10 people, 20 people around, but with this specific person you will have this weird magnetic pull. And this just means that you begin this kind of energetic exchange. That's how I always see. That's my first maybe sign that, okay, I have something to do with that specific person. So that's a very brief, maybe a bit longish, but introduction about this purpose, like why we have so many of them, why we cannot just finish on one soul connection, but we have to experiment with many. But maybe Gio, you can just take it from here.
Thanks, darling. Yeah, I had some. Today, I had a session with someone who experiencing exactly this and there, and we've seen this pattern of more and more people coming into a multi-soul connections one after another, and talking about with this. The community needs to understand this. That your path of evolutions is your path of evolutions. If you cannot work with somebody, the evolution brings somebody else. A lot of the energies that it's there, the purpose, as you said, darling, it is about that evolutions. And a lot of the people comes in with kind of like a, at the beginning, they ask me about like, Dio, what should I do? Because this connections is more stronger than the previous one. Yes, Paulina said right. You need to understand that every next connection you have, it's gonna be a higher in there to pull you up, to pull you higher. to pull you from where you are, to pull you from where you are stuck within the journey. And in some other cases, some other situations in there, you're going to have those repeating cycles. And a lot of the people comes in and ask me, Dio, I'm doing exactly the same thing as I did within my TF. I'm experiencing the same thing with my soulmate. I'm experiencing the same patterns. What is Dio? This is happening to you. Now you're gonna be paying attention into that in there, because in those repeating patterns, the reason is the connection is gonna be testing you, how far you learned, how many things you overcome, and then it's gonna come to a point of the connection is gonna be like, okay, so you are evolving to this state, I am evolving to this state. Now we have to evolve together, and that is the understanding that it's gonna be coming in. Um, can test you. I mean, a lot of the things that could be testing you, that is a people pleasing, that could be a codependency, uh, old culture patterns, religion patterns, and so on. But this exchange that's going to happen within the connections is going to help you to evolve. And those repeating soul connections, guys, in there, those cycles in there, is you to be practicing what you studied from before, you to not to repeat the same mistakes you did before, but also you to recognize inside of yourself your evolutions from within. Okay, that evolution is going to be putting into you to do something different. And when we're talking about something different, is you to understand that if you do the same thing that you did with the previous soul connection, is going to lead exactly the same ending as this one. So the wounds in there, it is going to be leading you, but also you're going to find out that this new connection is going to help you to heal, and also helping another side to heal. And because this is going to be the reason is about to breaking the unhealthy cycles that you had with this, the unhealthy pattern, and establish new one. Some of you may be gonna be like, is that it my mission? Is the mission is you to become the better version of yourself for it. So I want to give you here, Paulina, again, that she can say something
Yeah,
about it.
I wanted to say more, maybe how we should be looking at those like healing, like whatever we are doing during these separation phases, maybe just to remember that, because there is this belief system that we are just a part of this pair or twin flame couple, that we are supposed to work in a couple, and if we don't have this twin flame next to us, we just cannot do it. So I think it's just really important, just remember that you just have to see the separation phase as your personal time. Like, you cannot wait for anyone. It's just all of those healings and recognizing the patterns. You're supposed to do that for yourself, and not since the moment we were talking about it, but since the moment of ignition, and once the separation happens, like, you're on your own. You should not be looking for at your twin, or waiting until your twin will want to cooperate with you or collaborate or heal or move into this healthy way of having a relationship or connection. If he or she doesn't want to or cannot, you should not be, it's not your concern. Like, your only concern, if we are talking about evolution on this journey, you just have to acknowledge that, this is our individual journeys here. So I think somehow it's never enough to repeat that. Don't wait for your twin to get back to you. You're not a part of couple that's supposed to get into the union together. The union comes when you've done your personal work. Um, but maybe about this getting into the mission, I think it's that can be revealed somehow at a later time. But I think some soul connection can maybe give you some more hints toward that, because maybe you will see, and I feel that's what keeps repeating with us, for example, that somehow we have the focus, for example, more towards environment or those kind of stuff that I was discussing with previous connections, we kind of seem to have the same kind of interest on a soul level. So you, if you analyze those soul connections, maybe you can also realize that, you know, that those kind of themes, they will be repeating as if your soul wanted you to remind yourself, you know, what you really want to achieve in this lifetime. And it doesn't, again, it doesn't really matter who would you want to achieve it with, because, you know, there are multiple people or hundreds of people that you can have or build a connection with, that you can achieve those goals, those soul level goals. um and very briefly, I wanted to also mention that considering those soul connections, even on the karmic level, we are talking sometimes about karmic partners. I don't personally like this term karmic connection, because I believe all of those, like, we as a humans, we all have souls here. So if anything, that person took part in your life for a reason. So I still consider it as a soul connection, just on a very unaware state, unaware level. It's just, okay, you were just not progressed enough just to connect on the soul level, but somehow it still marks as a, it's a very important connection on your journey. So that was just the comments I wanted to mention. Maybe you have some details to add.
We were talking about maybe like an hour ago when you asked me the question about it, like that question that comes out, Dio, how come the people getting the energies differently in there? Kind of like I want to add it that you need to be very wise spiritually in there and realize that some of the people they're sensing the energies, but they're processing through the lower self. They're processing from the level of what they know and what do they have of understanding and operating of the point of view of survival, where you are aware, awakened within you, and you're operating of point of view of evolution. The same energy is available to both people, okay? But it's all about how is it processed. So sometimes within the karmic situations or even within the soul connections, the person understand, feels that energy of a soul, but he processes the energy of the lower self of survival in there. And be wise within yourself, be true to yourself when that comes in there, because some of the people they're getting very stuck to that person that cannot process the energy of the soul, and they're saying, well, he cannot do this and he cannot do that. Well, would you ask your questions what he cannot do within you? Okay, it's very interesting that when you shifting that instead of pointing to what my 3F or my soulmate or my soul connection cannot do, go look inside of yourself what you cannot do. That's going to be point out a very big part of you to evolve, because you will understand the truth. You cannot evolve with someone who doesn't understand who you are. You're going to be in two different worlds, two different energies, two different understandings. And the world doesn't need this. You don't need this, because when in two different frequencies and energies and understandings, things does not go in very well. You can be in a different energies and understandings when you do your personal inner work, okay? But your collective energies between you, it's coming because you have this understanding and operations of the evolution. And there, talking about the mission in you, I was referring more that the missions is you to understand and evolve within yourself. It's a part of your mission. You to rise up, you to evolve, you to be aware of, you to be this new consciousness, personality that operates from the soul, not operates from the lower self and the ego. What is about me? Because you're going to find out, even in the spiritual soul connections, people operating from the ego. What is about me? Can I be able to survive? Can I be able to sustain? What is going to happen in there? And so on. And sometimes the people thinking too much about the future. So when you're thinking about the future, you take this energy that it's within the present, you take that, and there is less energies here, and you put it more into the future. And you take more, you put it more into the future. You put more, and then you're exhausted. You are, don't have those energies inside of you. So the mission within you is going to be also involved that energy of the present. And there, to get on and move on within this, you are going to be attracting what you are. This is why when you're attracting a new soul connection within you, that is going to be the attractions that matches your vibrations. And the third energy is going to be the evolutions that put you together. We'll understand you have to evolve together. When that comes to you, of that, you will understand the matching of the vibrations and soul and spirit in there. That is going to be override the rest of the stuff in there. It's not going to operate from this ego survival, this physical appearances, and so on, because the soul is going to ask you, I want you to look everything in life from soul and spirit perspective and evolutions, because that's what you're created for. To shows up the right things in there. Um, if you experience more than one connection, is okay. A lot of the people don't allow themselves for like a year, 2, 3 to have a connections and so on, but then all of a sudden the evolution is pushing them. I found that very common within the people with the multi-soul connections in there, that after the second or the third year, they just open up. They're ready to move on in there, and still hearing the noise, the voice of Lindy Cowling that she said in there, if their connection doesn't work, you have to move on. You have to evolve. That's what you came here for. And that doesn't mean that the things is gonna go wrong. You're here to evolve. You're here to getting in there. But waiting for someone to awaken, if especially that person who are you're in a soul connection in there, and they're not doing the work, they don't evolve, then the evolution says enough is enough. You need to move. You're at a different level. He's in different level. Accept that. But most of the people have this tendency, like, no, I should hold on, I should grab, I should getting there. But with the grabbing, the person who cannot work with you brings all the pain, suffering, and prolonging the drama and the trauma within yourself. That trauma and drama later on, it's passing through the community in there. So when you let it go, trust, surrender, and let go, you need to understand this here, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can't lose something that it's meant for you, but you have to lose it. So you have to let the bird out of the cage. If the bird wants to be with you, she'll come back. Then it's yours. Then it's with you, because the choice of the bird is her choice. And you need to understand in the soul connections, this is a must. You have to give a freedom of the other person. But if the first connection didn't teach you that, the second will teach you, the third will teach you, until you'll learn this, until you give freedom to your soul connection, because that way you give the freedom to your own self, and there you give the freedom to evolve. That is something that most of the people, even in the spiritual community, is not talk about that. Okay, you're talking about this kind of like a level understanding that it's related to the evolution process, and there. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it to you, darling.
Yeah,
All
I
about
wanted
this.
just to see, explain more about those, why people are holding on to specific connections, because I think this, um, the current belief system is just, that's how people are explaining those twin flame connections, that this is divinely guided union, and the success of the union is just to getting together, and and I can see how strong is it kind of encoded in us, that we even feel guilty even if we try to move on. Like some people, because I saw it even on those forums, people are thinking like if it's okay to move on, or because I'm feeling guilty, if I try to do something with someone else as if I was cheating. I know because I experienced the same kind of sensation, because you're not doing anything wrong, but it's really such a strong limitation. You feel like you're doing something about against divine. It's such a strong belief system that you're even afraid of to break this bond. But I think my Aquarius side was just too strong, and I was like, I really don't want to be limited by anything. I really don't want to put any limitation on myself, especially when I'm getting stuck. So I took a risk. I was afraid because that really felt like going against some order, and it created a huge shift once I've done it, because I left the whole belief system of twin flame connections, having one twin. I really made a step and came onto the other side. And it just happened that this other side is actually not the end of the world. I even gained more awareness. That was a very big test, because there was the only thing that kept me going and just check what is on the other side. If I try to experiment more, not to be living in just one scenario that is not working for me, I was clearly getting a guidance from the energies that there is something on the other side. But once I crossed that, that was a very important moment for me to really start seeing this whole journey from the new perspective. We are not limited here to our twin. I mean, if you want to stay in this belief system, you can. But maybe if people will be having experiences from people who decided to step out of it, and they are fine, like it's nothing wrong happened, and if anything, I got all the goodies, and I evolved a lot thanks to this step, because right now I can see that twin flame is really just another step of evolution. And you just, if you are strong enough, or maybe if you're pushing yourself enough to constantly evolve, even putting those twin flame labels aside and focusing only on your evolution, you can really get very strong shifts on this journey. Once you decide just to explore a little bit more, outside of those belief systems, just to question everything always. Like, don't trust to anything that anyone is talking. Just follow maybe whatever resonates with you.
Um, it's very good in there talking about, first of all, that Aquarius part that it's with both of us. That's why we did this Aqua Spirit United for it. It was a very good thing. But we're talking about that even that right now, a lot of the people, they hold on to that one person, to that one single person, and sooner or later they find out that they have to move on, or they can stay and the drama and the trauma in there, and all of a sudden it's going to be kicking the next stage for them, which is most of the people that I find out, it's leading to obsession. My divine feminine, my divine masculine, and all the time these people, they're connecting everything and anything that goes on in their life with the divine feminine, divine masculine, because that turns to obsession. And it's very hard to tell a person who are obsessed to getting in there. So the only thing that you need to do is do yourself self-check about this obsession, because that obsession later on is not it's leading to healthy issues and so on, and psychological issues that I seen most of the time in this but this Aquarius energies that is within us, and I'm so grateful actually to this, because the Aquarius is like I can't be staying stuck. I'm not here. I didn't came here to play games. I didn't came here to do something. I came here to change the world. If you don't want to change the world with me, great. Have a great day. Love and peace and everything for you. And go ahead. But I need to move. And you're gonna feel that human part within yourself that you have to heal within you, that codependency. You will understand the codependency from a spiritual level, that it's not healthy for you, but it's not only also healthy for the person. And that is going to be able to help you to take this codependency roots out of your system. Okay, we're talking about like a weed, that if you don't cut the roots in there, that wheat is going to come out. That wheat is going to come out even next year and a year after, and so on. And and when you heal the codependency, you find the freedom within yourself, but also it's going to be some very good flavor of freedom, of love between the connections that you're going to have. And once you're passing, as Paulina said, the threshold, and there things are going to be open up, and it's a whole another level. But most of the people, they like to stay in the drama. They like to stay in the trauma. They like to stay in the my divine masculine, my divine feminine, my this, my that, and so on and so on, until the thing that doesn't work. The thing is getting worse, worse and worse, until the universe doesn't step in. It tells you enough is enough. You have to let it go of this connection. You have to move. You have to get in there. It's not going to work. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. But some of the people, their persistence in there, they're trying to push, push, push. And this is what it is about, to understand that the purpose of multi-soul connections is coming in, because it's kind of like a backup, because the evolution has to happen. The evolution's only asking you who's gonna do it, who's gonna cooperate with that evolutions for the humanity, who's gonna do the work, who's gonna step out of the comfort zone, who's gonna break the old paradigms. And with these energies in there, breaking those paradigms in there, do you know how beautiful it feels when you're crossing within the new paradigms? It's completely different. But you have to take the courage and the step within yourself to do it. And this is this attractions within the people who are ready to go and cooperate with the divine. The divine is like, okay, what is this people evolve to it? Oh, they're to that portion. Let me help them to evolve to the next stage, because the evolution takes place. That energy of the evolving to move higher in the spiritual realm, but then the spiritual realm is going to help you with your survival. Well, a lot of the people, they're focused within the survival and lost that soul connection. They only have the sense of the soul vibrations that was there, that they had, but they still operating of their psyche of survival mode in there. So that's what it is. It is a lessons for people. I mean, people gotta learn their lessons in there. That doesn't mean that they have to accept what we're saying, and then there isn't. The evolution is gonna teach them. Evolution for everyone is different. It's not about in there. But what I'm encountered more and more is that people go through the same thing until they don't learn. So you need to understand it's not a punishment, repeating cycle. It's a lesson that you have to learn, evolve.
Yeah, but I feel it's somehow it's a problem. The main problem that people have, it's pretty painful to accept that someone cannot join you on a journey anymore, especially when you got ignited with someone. Somehow we have easier time to accept that our parents are not on the same level, that our friends are kind of falling off where you start a spiritual journey. But if that's this special connection that got you ignited, people just cannot accept. It's very hard, or it's very painful to acknowledge that this person just cannot join you. As much as they would like to, as much it was divinely guided at the beginning, it was spiritual, and it got you into the spirituality more and more. It's a it's even a little bit sad, and I think that's why people kind of they try to avoid this pain, because it's painful. You have to acknowledge that you don't have a control over how much you would like to continue with that specific person, to have that specific person as a divine partner, just all this beautiful things. It's painful to realize that, it's just okay, it's not going to be according to your wish. But the way I was getting it, once you're able to achieve that, to acknowledge that, and just to really surrender to it, you're entering this peaceful state. And from what I was getting about those soul connections, all of them are about one thing, really, just to make a peace with it. No matter how it's unfolding, if it's going somewhere, if it's going anywhere, if it was painful, if it was beautiful, any of those, you just have to release any expectations. You have to be at peace, and just to be okay with anywhere it will go. Because the way I was understanding it, like, you cannot get any other soul connection. I might be wrong, but that's at least my understanding for now. But you may have a lot of connections even aligned already, but since you are holding on to this lower vibe, or maybe previous one, I would say, not lower, but the previous one, you will be keeping yourself at that level. And even if you already have a, let's say, 5 person people aligned that are on the same vibe as you would be if you just release this, the previous one, because you're always progressing in this journey. But if you don't recognize that, you will be just keeping yourself unnecessarily lower, while you already could progress more and more. So that's why this peace state, I think that creates this how can I explain? I'm missing word, but just if you're able to create this peaceful state with this any connection that you have, you're able to release it. It served its purpose. You've learned the lesson. There is nothing anymore that you have to clear or replay or resolve. You're just going higher, and it doesn't really matter who you're gonna be paired up with. It's just another thing. Maybe that's important, what people have to understand, that sometimes we still have those preferences, and you're like, no, I want to go with that specific person, I don't want to have anyone else. So then it's your choice. You can either wait for that specific person and just sit and do nothing really, or just say, okay, I don't really care, which phase is working with me, which, like, it sounds harsh, but which body is working with me, which kind of person is working with me. All I care is just about progressing more and just seeing what the universe has in store for me.
This is kind of like a very good in there. I kind of like a tapping into your energy when you are talking, and talking about that. Uh, Even at the beginning, okay, I explained to the people. I talked to the people countlessly hours with so many people, so many videos. I mean, I just try to explain it to them. The three laws of that evolutions you to evolving in their trust, surrender, and let go. I made videos about the power of the trust, the final let go of your twin flame. What is that going to do for you in there, and so on. And it, it gets me that the people that operate from this lower emotion state of survival, even though they listen to this and they're kind of like, yeah, I got it, but they're doing what they're doing, and then they don't evolve in there. And when you trust, when you surrender and let go, that leads you to that peace. You let it go of something that doesn't work, and let it go of that connections doesn't work, and then it's coming next one. So, for example, as a child, you play with another friends and other people and so on. If the one didn't work, play with you, you found another one, right? If your first girlfriend, boyfriend, however your case is, did you got another one? When you got into a kind of like a trying to get a relationship under the same roof, but didn't work out, did you get another one? Or when you got married and you understand later on that the marriage wasn't what you thought it should be, so you're looking for another thing. Why you don't apply it now here? Your codependency. You have to face your ugliest nightmares of your shadow self in there, of hold on to this light that you saw. But you saw the light, you're moving up. but the person he saws the lights, he decide not to. So what are you going to do in there? So, talking about within this, that I know that for most of the people, the twin flame, it's a magnetic connection. I know that. Been there, done that. I got it. But look at it within in the people is like, don't lower your standards to fit somewhere that later on you're looking at from within yourself of what you do.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of like
Oh,
froze. You froze
oops.
on a
Mercury?
Facebook.
I think
Mercury retrograde is working, or I can hear it, so that way you're
I think
froze.
it's
But hopefully the connection is gonna get
oh well.
itself refreshed in there.
But you can hear me, right?
I can
Okay.
hear you. You're just sitting there on the screen. You're froze.
That's okay.
Within and yeah, it's a Mercury retrograde, so it is what it is.
We understand.
Yeah, people understand. Well, the thing is that I want to talk more about it is when you make peace with the connection, and I want you, darling, you to say, how did you feel when you make the peace of let go of the question, the of the connections in there?
Hmm. Honestly, I thought it's how do I explain? I didn't know what's coming. I didn't know what will be the next step, but I felt freedom. You know, the first time it was very similar feeling I was having, you know, when this separation phase with my previous connection happened. So I finally I had to realize I have to move on. Like I won't be waiting until someone wishes to respond. So that was the first moment. But this moment that we kind of started together, that was my, let's say, second separation in the second surrender. Sorry, that was very similar sensation. It was like overwhelming peace. Like I released some very heavy burden, just came out of me, like washed me. And I rem- I remember that as a very void space. It's just I didn't see very much what's ahead of me. All I know, I knew that's a proper step. I knew that's gonna trigger some more changes, and I clearly felt like I shifted a lot. That I crossed some threshold. Like I just changed the whole paradigm in me. That some brand new reality open up. So I think that's what happens. Like if people are able to take them out of this, again, like it's not lower, it's just different. I really feel that we have many different realities, and if you're able to make a choice just to jump out of this, let's say, twin flame paradigm, if I can call it that way, you're just making a shift and you're just going even higher. Even maybe there's even more crazy stuff that's happening. It's just um definitely I felt like I crossed some boundary. I felt like I expanded a lot, and I felt that there is something on the other side. Like it's nothing wrong with just let go of something that is not serving as much divine as it was in the beginning. I just realized, okay, it's not moving anywhere. So it's just my only wish was really, I was in such a peaceful state with me, so I didn't really I was okay with just moving on. Although still, it was a little bit hard to acknowledge that it's not according to my wish, and my life will not unfold in the way that I imagined. So that was a little bit of distrust in the universe was needed, just to put aside my wishes and my um, ideals, how I want it to be, and just say, okay, it's not going to be that soul connection. But the moment I released, I was able to connect with you on this higher level. Otherwise, like we wouldn't be able to vibrate in the same frequency because I was holding on to that other connection. So maybe one thing I wanted to mention is sometimes people are asking, oh, can I date some or can I be with someone else while also having my twin flame, like as a, how can I say, like they would like to move on but still they have this that person, that twin flame connection in their head, you know. So
Hmm.
I always feel like this is just not fair. I think if you want to do that, like, just don't do it. If you want to do that just to maybe distract yourself from this twin flame connection because, oh my god, he or she doesn't want to talk to me, maybe I should just get someone just to not waste my time. You should not ever consider that, because why would you do that to this other person? I don't mean your twin flame, this other person that you even consider as your another connection. You know, until you're in not in a state that you just want to be fair with everyone and just treat everyone just the best possible way, like, just don't enter the connection. You have to be okay with just letting completely go of other person. Otherwise you're not able to build a healthy connection with anyone else.
That actually very good point of this in there because of um, I mean, I have some people who came to me. They had their twin flame, and they had their twin flame situations. They had a contract and contact with this, but they also got into a different relationship while they still within the twin flame. To most of those, they lost they lost both. Okay, just because there is no honesty in the twin flame connection, but there is now also an honesty with another person there is. And then is going to be a harm done, that it's unnecessarily harm. If you don't want to be with the person, if you still hold on to your twin flame, you can just basically tell them, listen, I'm dealing currently with something that it's within me. I'm not available right now at this moment. I'm not looking for anybody, and so on. But don't mess it up, because later on that messed up is gonna come back and haunt you. Okay, it's gonna comes out in a ugliest way to some of the people that have been working on it. I see some people who had their twin flame and a soulmate at the same time. They lost them both, and that is like, oh my god, what did I did? You figure out what did you did. You harm two people in yourself as well. And there, hopefully, there is not other individuals involved or kids, for example, within that, because they all see that experience. Okay, and when we're talking about with this, have your truth within yourself. Not just go from one connection to another just because you want to be with somebody else. The best thing it is when you let it go of the past soul connection, you're not looking for a connection. You're not digging it within the connections in there. You're not seeing it. You work on yourself, and if it's meant to be, you say to the divine, if it's meant to be to have another soul connections, you're gonna show me. You're gonna find that connections, because that connections is gonna comes in from the divine. Then I can look at it in there, but I'm not looking. And that is one of the moments of that freedom is gonna comes in, that exactly when you're not looking, the divine, together with the evolution processes that goes on in there within the energy, they're going to bring you a person that you attract. Now that's the proper way of attracting the soul connection. But if you're in a soul connection and a relationship, this is like the same thing, is like you better learn that lesson. I'm talking about people who are married and they have twin flame. They know how that feels. Cheating. You're cheating on your husband with your twin flame, and when you're with your twin flame, you feel cheating on your husband. This is why sometimes when you let it go of this soul connections, you feel like you cheat, or you know to let it go, and so on. And you feel guilty in there. The guilt trip is in there, but that guilt trip has to be healed. How are you gonna heal it? By let it go, because you're trying to steer and controls the connections. Most of the failures of the connections, they are coming for that purpose. Okay, you to heal in there. And you to understand the old paradigm of the feminine controls the masculine controls the feminine. It has to be end over. It's a equal responsibilities, but the one side have to understand the other. Is the way as the divine masculine understand the divine feminine energies, is the same way the divine feminine understands the divine masculine energies. That doesn't mean that the divine feminine have to have divine masculine actions. Is the same way the divine masculine have the divine feminine actions, because there will be a fight between two defined feminine energies or two defined masculine energies within the people. Okay, and that is going to be relating to what? To pressure and pulling. Because if you get two magnets together that they have the south or the north node, they're the same, you try to put them and they're always pulling apart. But when you put the south and the north node, which is the one is divine masculine, the other is divine feminine, you can do it. Yeah, you can switch your roles. You can switch your roles. There is always this switching of the roles in there, but that is going to help you to understand these processes. And there, in the process of the journey, is you need to understand. You think that that 100% it's permanent. Let me tell you, the 100% is not permanent. As soon as you reach 100% of what you're currently working, you are going to find out you're only at 1% of the journey that you need to go. There is another 99.9% that you need to achieve out there. But it's your personal choice to continue in there or not. And hi, Lorna. Thank you for being here. And it's a personal choice about these differences within the relationships. It's a personal choice, and but you're choosing the love inside of you towards yourself. You're gonna build that self-love within you that doesn't depend on somebody. When you let it go, when you let it go, and there, and eventually you're gonna come to the point that you understand in here you to evolve in love. So that's what from me. If you have anything else to say, darling.
I can see I'm still frozen, so that's a shame. But hopefully you can hear me. We had one point regarding why this ignition state feels the most magnetic. You know, it feels like, oh my god, that was the biggest, the most that I've ever experienced with anyone. And even if you have next soul connection, they don't seem to feel as intense or as magnetic. And I think it's just it just happens because you're as you progress on the journey, like in life, you're learning lessons constantly, so your levels of vibration is changing, obviously, and also your level of awareness is changing, so you're getting into this higher and higher energies, whether you like it or not. You don't even have to do much. Like, it's once you're on a journey, like the universe will be arranging stuff just to keep you progressing. Sometimes what we can actually control is maybe the pace of evolution and pace of these upgrades, but it's just doing things on its own anyways. So maybe for the people who are still thinking that you will find the same level of vibration, there's and intensity as you had at the ignition state, you want, and don't expect that, because that's a little bit, I think, it's not misunderstanding, it's like relatively you will feel it less intense with every soul connection you experience, because you're comparing to what? You're comparing to this highest state possibly you can feel, which is peace. I think that's what it is. That's the final step that we can achieve in those connections here. So if you're on the right track, obviously it's not going to be very much different to what you already are. So the more you progress, you will see that you're vibrating on the same level with someone, but you won't have this very intense feeling and this like weird chemistry that you had with your first connection, or the connection that got you ignited. But that's okay, just don't look for it, because it's not necessary. It's not description of your connection at any sort, because I think that still people are just, they try to experience this very intense connection next time and next time with every soul connection that they have, instead of just realizing, like, if it felt very magnetic, it just meant that you were getting into a lot of healing energies at that point. Because we were discussing those things, like what really are we feeling from the other person when we are in the soul connections. And for me, if anything, this is like the energy of healing that we are experiencing during this energetic exchanges from people. So if you're in a proper shape, like, you don't expect that much to be happening from another person. So those energetic exchanges with the people, like they won't feel that intense. So that's one thing I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, here is the good point in there, and I sense the energies, even though I don't see you in there. You know, it's a shame that the connection froze, but it's Mercury retrograde. But with that being said, up here, what the people is that they have the tendency to look on the surface. If you know me, I'm like to go deep and dive deep into there. And most of the people, when you ask them, what do you want your twin flame? And they have this constantly intensity about their twin flame, is so sensitive about the twin flame, is so much in the drama, pain, and so on, and so on, and so on, in there. And I ask him, what do you want to do your twin flame? And they don't know the answer. But the answer is to have the peace. So you don't have to deal with all this. You don't have to deal with the drama, the trauma, and all those energies. And when the people feel this intense energies, that means that something has to be worked out. But when you getting into the energies of the inner peace, as you state, the next vibration, okay, the next vibrations after the inner peace. If you guys looking at and you should researching, you should self-study yourself the frequencies and the vibrations, that is a enlightenment. The love, the vibrations, and the heart feelings, they have a lower vibes than the inner peace. But when you have the inner peace, you know everything from alpha to omega. You got everything in there. And when the enlightenment kicks in, the evolutions what kicks in, you're going to understand that from evolution, of that higher level of understanding, you're going to get to another threshold, which is becomes a new alpha that you need to be learning, a new lower energy. And this is why the connections, knowing the inner peace, the connection is going to strive into the inner peace, growing through the issues, whatever the issues that needs to be worked out, because they know the both units of the connections in there, they are operating from the inner state of this enlightenment about the inner peace, because between the inner peace and the enlightenment there is this connection in there for it, that inner peace, they're striving to the inner peace, and they're going through this alpha issues like the lower hate vibrations, hate, you know, all the lower realms in there, and they go to this neutrality. Then from the neutrality, they begin to build it back up within love and so on, and the love, the joy, and after the joy is the inner peace. You know, when you have the love towards the connection, and everything is going to be okay, you're going to have the joy. If you don't have the joy within the connection, that connection goes down back into alpha point. So this is what the people, they have to understand, the power of the inner peace and what is it so important. But you're not going to have inner peace in you until you're still stuck into connections that doesn't work. This is why the universe comes in and tells you here, that is that purpose of another soul connection for you. Because I see you suffer. I see you're in pain. You're asking for something that someone is not capable to give it to you. Someone cannot bring that inner peace within you. Somebody cannot get you what you want because they want something else from you that you cannot give them. They want material situations while you want to give them spiritual situations. You see, that is when you have to recognize that part, and the purpose is the evolutions of humanity. This is why you awaken. This is why you're aware of. Okay, but the trust, surrender, and let go, they're always gonna be up and there. So I totally agree with you, baby. All right. If you have anything else to say, or if any of you have any questions in there, can I ask about it?
I think we'll have this closing point as a conclusion, that, as I said, you should not be waiting for this 100% of this vibrational experience that you experience during the ignition state and bubble love, because it's not coming back. Like, it served its purpose, and also you may be already in this high end state, but it just feels different. It feels more chill because you're changing, you're evolving. So this peace, inner peace, will become your natural state if you're really doing the things like a proper way according to this soul's journey. So I think the more you progress with that and you try to build those conscious or aware connections, you will realize that you may be falling off of this kind of 100% of this inner peace that you have, because it's not meant to be there like for forever. It's something to work towards, but it will be natural that sometimes you will just feel a bit lower within the connection. You may feel like your partner is a bit lower or you're lower, and you just kind of try to balance it out. But I think that just proves to you that you will realize that this is your choice, to continue those connections. We are not owning anyone here, and especially, as Dio said, those soul level connections that are supposed to be the template for healthy connections between people, they need to be built from the place of the freedom, freedom of choice. That's why we cannot be forcing anyone or expecting someone to act certain way, because it doesn't work. And the more you understand this, you'll be really making a conscious choice to choose that specific person as your partner, because you're free. Like, you have all the choices, there is no limits, but you choose that person because you see there is this, let's say, third energy that it's involved, that was guiding you towards that person, because that you were kind of guided that the next step of the journey should be done with that specific person. So I think this, we maybe were neglecting a little bit the spiritual part in this video, but maybe just to bring it back to the attention that this is still about spiritual connection. So even if we're considering this, switching back and forth between twin flame or some side soul connection, if anything, like, you have to remember about your spirituality. Where is your spirituality if you're even considering this? This is some not very much moral behavior. I think I'm speaking personally, but if anything, you just have to act always from this place of goodness, right? If you're talking about spiritual growth. Mm. You may add something.
I'm just sitting here and like still amazing about our connections right here, talking about this 100% in there, and the way when you were talking about it, a lot of the people don't realize this. When the people are in their karmic connection, okay, they want something else. They want this spiritual awakening and so on. They reach this 100%. Somebody comes in and awaken them up, and that's the most beautiful time. And they're like, yes, I finally found the person. I'm at that 100%. And then they find out they have so much things to do after this 100%. Even that right now, with us, given an example right in here, guys, we are finding all the time that this 100% of the evolutions is coming in there. But what do we find in there? What Paulina said, if you were able to go within the energies and sense it, what did she give you? It is the freedom. But you need to understand that the freedom within you and the freedom within the connection, it is about to allow the evolution to take its natural path within your spirit and your soul connection and the universe configurations of the things that you need to do. You're removing your lower self control there. That is the spiritual wisdom and there. I mean, a lot of the people there, this and that, and so on and so on and so on. But the people who done that freedom that we're sharing here with you guys about the soul connections and so on. If the one connection doesn't give you the peace, another one will. But as long as you become that inner peace, and senseis agree if you can hear him, and so on. But that's what I want to finish with this, guys, is that looking within yourself, looking where you're standing at, looking where the world is currently on this mud of shifting consciousness, and looking where the evolution is calling you. That's the only way. Nobody can tell you what you can and cannot do. You're the person who have to learn this. And there. The only thing that it is we are coming to you to look within yourself and remove that suffering that has been for very, very a long time. And our wish here is get to find your peace in the soul. To have that peace in the soul as a human experience on earth. Okay, guys? That's all I had here. So, somebody has questions, they can say. If you're not, we're gonna go close these sessions out. So.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I think we covered it nicely. And if you have any questions, you can put it in the comments. We will be replying in next videos. But hopefully, it helps you to get into this more broad mindset about there is no limits in this journey. You're the only person who is setting limits here, really. If you're a rebel, you're gonna explore and you will see, okay, let me see what happens if I do something else than everyone is saying. And that's the moment that you don't need guides at that moment. You don't need mentors. If you're able to just navigate your journey on your own and make your own choices, that's your responsibility, and that just shows that you've grown enough.
Go the Aquarius way. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Be love, guys.
See you next time. Bye.